This is Support is Sexy, episode 410, and we're kicking off our Money Move series. Today is part 1, and we're talking about creating and activating your vision. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and lessons to help you take your business to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. It just would not be the same without you. And I am super excited to kick off our Money Move series. And today, as I mentioned in the intro, we're talking about creating your vision and activating that vision. And this Support is Sexy episode, actually this whole series, is sponsored by supportissexyvision.com. Speaking of vision, we are going to get together on Monday, February 19th, a holiday for most people in the U.S., in Atlanta. Just have 25 spaces, a group of women come together and talk about your vision and create your vision board. It's time to create those vision boards for 2018. It's not too late. It's never too late. You can create it anytime. Certainly on Monday, February 19th in Atlanta. Let's get together, talk about your vision, create your vision board, and talk about the things that you need to let go of in order to move forward with your vision and in your life and in your business, which we're going to talk about today. So to find out more about that, supportissexyvision.com. All the details and information there. I hope to see you. Supportissexyvision.com. Now today in part 1 of our Money Move segment, again, we're talking about creating your vision and activating that vision. And yes, this does have something to do with money. It has to do with revenue. What kind of business either are you going to create, or maybe you're in a space where you're reinventing or thinking about a new service to add to your business. I went through this, as I shared at the end of last year, was 2017. It's all starting to blend together. But I went through this when I wasn't even thinking about it. Maybe I was just open, living the question. You know, I'm all about that. I was open, living the question, and thinking about what else can I create in the Support is Sexy sphere that would be of service to women, which is what I'm all about, and that would make sense for my business. And that is how I came up with a podcast booking service specifically for women called Girl on Podcast. But if I did not open myself up and be open to that vision of creating girlonpodcast.com, all about servicing women who want to appear on podcasts and women who podcast, connecting the two so they can work together. That wouldn't have come to me if I hadn't been open to the vision and being willing to really take action, which I've also talked about. I took inspired action when that idea came to me, and it really felt like it called me to create it. It was an idea that was a business idea, yes, of service, but I thought this would be a great business idea, something I'm already passionate about, something I was already doing, something that I could offer to people, see if they like it. And thank goodness that you all like it. It's been fantastic. Have clients. It's moving. It's shaking. It's wonderful. And it's serving the purpose of my business, what I'm all about, which is creating spaces for women to share their stories. So that's part of my overall vision. And this is how this became part of my business and how that ended up trickling down into generating revenue for my business. So today, in talking about creating and activating your vision, I actually want to ask you some questions. I don't have all the answers today. In fact, you know, I never really have all the answers, right? I can tell you about my experience, and I definitely have the questions. So today I'm going to share with you some questions. Actually, these are some of the questions that we're going to talk about in the Vision Workshop on Monday, February 19th. But it does make sense for us to share here as part of our Money Move series. Questions to ask yourself about your vision for yourself, your business, where you see yourself going, how you can create money moves out of this, and what kind of steps you can take to move forward, which is what you know we're all about. So the first question, what do you really want? It sounds like a simple question, but sometimes that's the one that trips us up. Actually, you know what? Pause for a minute. If you're not driving, please get a pen and paper. You know I'm all about it. Yes, you can take it down in your phone, but there's power in writing things down. Not that you can't listen to this later. I'd love for you to listen to it again. But if pen and paper is handy, you might want to write these questions down and consider them and write your answers later. Write your answer. Don't even just think about it. Write your answer. Or if you're in a space where you want to be in a meditative state, even though I don't know if I'm talking in a meditative voice, but in a meditative state, you might want to reflect on these questions and then write your answers. Either way, you see I'm pushing for you to write this down, right? So let's start with that first question. What do you want? What do you really want? No matter what stage of your business in, whether you're just in the idea stage, which I know a lot of you are, you have an idea, you're thinking about it, you kind of already know what you want to do, but maybe you're afraid for whatever reason. No judgment here. You're afraid to move forward. You've been procrastinating. You don't know what the first step will be. That'll always take the longest, that first step. None of us know exactly what the right first step is. And the second step will reveal itself once you take that first step. But you have to decide first, what do you want? What direction are you at least facing, even if you don't know exactly where you're going? So I want you to think about that and write that down. Pause this if you even have to. What do you really want? What are you hiding from everybody else? Maybe. I don't want to project that on you, but could there be something that you're hiding from everyone else? Maybe not even admitting to yourself that you really want to create in your already existing business or in your life or in a business that you want to create. Again, you might just have an idea. Well, what is it? What do you really want? Now, here's the thing, I'm pushing big time this year. I'm pimping this word this year. Possibility. Be open to the possibility. Possibility is my theme and word for the year. Don't think, oh, well, this wouldn't work. That's not possible. I don't have this. I don't have that. Don't get into the negative talk. Don't even create space for that. Only fill your head and your heart with possibility. Think about maybe this could work. So if this could work, what would it be? What would be that thing that you really want? If you had absolutely no restraints, nothing else to think about, don't even think about the money right now. Just think about, what do you want? What kind of business would you want? What kind of business would you create? And here's the thing, leave space for discovery. When I talk about possibility, I think dreaming and being open to discovery is part of that too. So I'm asking you to write down that thing, but don't get too, don't get too caught up in, hung up in, stumbling over the idea of saying exactly what it's going to look like. Does that make sense? That might be kind of hard to grasp, but think about if you just freely wrote what you want or what you want to feel with your business or what you want to experience or what you want other people to experience. You might not even know though exactly what that business is. Make sense? Like Girl on Podcast, again, for example, that wasn't a business in November 2017. No idea. That was no kind of idea. It came to me in December. I didn't know, but I knew that I wanted to create something new to accompany Support is Sexy as an option for a business. That's all I knew. I knew I wanted to serve women. I knew I wanted to stick with this idea of creating spaces for women to share their stories. So I had some of that, but I had space for possibility, one, and also space to discover, open to discovery. And look, this is a great time. If you are into vision boards, maybe you don't have one, or maybe you do, or you're thinking about it. Maybe this is the time to pull those images from magazines or from the web or anything visually that will stimulate you, anything that you're drawn to, even with the images. You don't have to know exactly why you're pulling them or why you're drawn to them. But if you see something and you really like it, grab the image, pull it out, either put it on your vision board or just keep them in a folder for now until you create that vision board, until you think, this is why I must have been drawn to, Fiji, or this is why I was drawn to podcast mics, or this is why I was drawn to weights. Well, Fiji, maybe you want to create a travel business or have some travel component or get together retreats. The podcast mic, obviously, right? Maybe it's a mic, maybe it's speaking, maybe it's something else. What was the last one I said? Training or weights or whatever it is. Maybe it's something about physical fitness or health or wellness. You never know why you're drawn to these images. I feel like parts of us know the answers before the other parts of us realize it or accept it. So maybe you can pull some images from wherever, just get them together, whether you're putting them on a vision board, putting them in a folder, but create space for discovery. That's what that's all about. Finding out, figuring out, laying out, writing out what you really want, leaving space for discovery. And look, when you're thinking about this, You might even be afraid to write that thing down, much less say it out loud. Sometimes we're afraid to say things out loud because we don't have the right support around us. Nothing negative about the people around us, but maybe it's not the space where we feel safe to say, I've really been having this idea for this business and this is what I want to create, or this is what I want to try. And what do you think? Or even if you don't say, what do you think? You're just afraid of what the person is going to think. Hey, happens to the best of us. You might be afraid to say it, or you might be afraid to write it down because it makes it very real when we write it down, which is why I always encourage you to write things down. But if you are afraid, here's the thing, that means you're pushing yourself to stretch. So it's okay to be afraid. Even still, write it down. Right now, you're not sharing this with anyone. This is all for you. So I ask you again, what do you really want? Now, our next question, what do you feel called to do at this stage of your business? Again, whether this is the early stage, whether the idea stage, whether you're reinventing, whether you're in a full-time position and you want to start a business or you're trying to figure out what you could do. I mentioned before that I know a lot of people in media who are thinking, what am I going to do if this job goes away, which so many jobs are going away. People are thinking, what can I do and what can I create? Well, what do you feel called to do? Not thinking so much about it as a business right now, but what do you feel called to do? What do you feel called to create? What lights you up? What are you super excited about? Write that down. These are the things that call to me, just like the images, I feel called to do. If it's some kind of service, if it's some kind of product, if it's some kind of solution, anything like that, write it down. And then your next question, what is your why? Focus on your why, as Simon Sinek says. The author, Simon Sinek, and TED Talk, you must check it out. Start with your why. So what is your why? Let go of the how, right? As we always say, don't worry about the how because really, you don't really know how. None of us really do. We're figuring it out as we go along. So focus on your why. Why do you feel called to this thing? Why do you feel like you want to create this business? If you have that answer, you might not have that answer yet. Your why might be, I just feel called to do this, or this just feels important to me, or this image just spoke to me. If that's your why for now, then that will evolve, trust me. But what is your why? What do you feel like is your why if you have an idea of what kind of thing, business, service, product that you want to create? Why? What problem does it solve for you or for the person that you hope will receive this gift, really this offering? What is your why? And then think about, whom do you most want to serve in your business? For me, it's women who want to share their stories, and I help women do that in all kinds of ways. With the Support is Sexy podcast, with girlonpodcast.com, with now having a vision board event. I hope I have more of those or something like that still is about women expressing themselves and feeling really heard and supported. That's my thing, for women to have space to share their stories and to feel heard and supported. That is the thing. So for you, who do you want to serve? Is it women? Is it men? Is it women who do blank? For me, it's women entrepreneurs and creatives, women who are ambitious and really wanting to serve and create something in the world. Who is it for you, as specifically as you can? Who do you want to serve in your business, with your business, even if you don't know, again, what this business is just yet? But we're going to get to that because we're going to talk about the business, talk about ways to make money. But right now, who are you passionate about serving? Is it children? Is it people who want to get in shape and be fit? Is it people who need some personal development work? Who are the people that you want to serve? Now, look, I will say this. With all of these questions, you might be saying to yourself, I don't know. I'm not sure about the answers to any of those things. No matter how much I meditate, no matter how many images I pull, I don't know the answer. If that's the case, let's start here. What really worked for you in the past year for your business, if you already have a business, or what really worked for you in your job? When I say what really worked for you, where was the area that you were really lit up? Something that you really enjoyed, something that you're just great at, something that comes naturally for you. What worked for you this past year? Maybe it was a way of being, the type of person you were being this year. What were you into this year? Was it books that you read this year? Just getting clear on what was working for you, because my question to you is that something that you can double down on from this day moving forward? I think I talked about that in the new year, right? For resolutions, I talked about getting clear on what you can double down on as opposed to what can I change? What can I focus on that was doing really well for me this past year that will help me move forward? An example for me, consistency. I was consistent with the Support is Sexy podcast. Sometimes things happen. Most times I overcame those things and remained committed to airing the podcast 5 days a week. Consistency worked for me. I see my business growing. I see my community growing. I see all of the ways that this is going to prayerfully continue to grow because I doubled down on, or I'm going to double down on, being consistent in all parts of my business. Now, as you can see, consistency is something that is not a business itself, but it is something that will help me in my business. So for you, starting there, what is something that worked for you this year? How can you double down on that? And then is that something that you can apply to a business or something itself that could become a business? So maybe this past year, for example, you did something like giving people advice on what to wear to different parties or events, or people kept coming to you and asking you to help them with styling or something in some kind of way. Is that something that you could double down on moving forward? Is there an opportunity there to be an image consultant for people? Is there an opportunity there to be a stylist, to work on film sets or whatever, or to help corporate women figure out their style and their image? There could be a lot of ways, areas that you're not even focused on, that you can double down on, areas where you are a genius in that area, other people might not be, you have a specialty, you don't even realize it. Is that something you can double down on? Now, here's the next question, and this is getting into real money moves. Where do you want your business, the business that you currently have or that you're going to create, where do you want it to be 1 year from today as far as revenue? Write that number down. Where do you want your business to be in 1 year from today as far as annual, let's say annual revenue? And then you can do monthly revenue if you like. But whatever it is, write down a year from now, this is how much I want my business to be creating. The next question, where do you want your business to be 10 years from today as far as revenue? 10 years. Think 10 years out. Now, most people, there's some conflicting messages around this I've heard from different people. Some people say don't think that far out. Other people say you have to think that far out. This is not me saying do or don't, or that you do have to or don't have to. I'm posing it to you because I love something that Tony Robbins says, which is many of us overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do in 10. So I'm asking you to look at your 10-year goal, whatever you wrote down right now, and dream bigger. How can you really stretch what that 10-year goal might look like? And this doesn't mean that you want to create a $1 billion company, but whatever you wrote down, as far as revenue, how can you push it? How can you stretch it where it feels uncomfortable, where it might even feel impossible? How can you set that dream for yourself just so you have an idea of how far you can stretch? So think about that 10-year goal, write it down, go big, because you're probably underestimating what you can do in the next 10 years. And the last question in part 1 of our series on creating and activating your vision, what's one completely imperfect step that you can take today to move you in the direction of that vision? Like I said, you don't know exactly how it's going to work. You might not even know exactly what direction you should go in. Pick a direction and decide what's one step, not perfect. Don't think, well, when I get this, when I have that, this perfect. No. What is one imperfect step you can take today to move you in the direction of that vision? Is it reaching out to someone? Is it reaching out to someone is the main thing, right? People are most afraid of. Is it putting something out there? Is it going ahead and launching that website that you've been designing for 3 years now? What is the imperfect step that you can take and you can iterate on as you move forward, but it's moving you in the direction of your vision? Can you take that step today? That's not even a question. Take that step today to move you forward. One imperfect step. I don't know what it's going to be. I can only imagine, I should say. One step, one completely imperfect. So that's the thing. I want you to think about what's an imperfect, maybe even an embarrassing step that I can take today, but it's going to move me in the direction I believe of my vision. Think about that. Write that down. Take that step today. It will give you momentum. It'll move you forward. I'm telling you, it'll make your day because you're being brave and taking that step, and you're being brave and courageous because it's going to be imperfect. You already know. You're going into it like, this is imperfect. I already know, but I'm taking this step. Today is the day. All right, so that's part 1 of our series on creating and activating your vision. Again, if you're here in Atlanta on February 19th, I want you to join me for creating your vision and your vision board for 2018 in Atlanta. We're going to get together and make it happen. So go to supportissexyvision.com to find out more about that. But in the meantime, I want you to come back here tomorrow for part 2 of our series on making money moves. We're going to talk about identifying your zone of genius. All right, until then, you know what else to do. Make sure you remember you deserve support. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.